Buying a bad home in Vancouver can destroy you financially, but working with the wrong real estate agent can be just as dangerous or worse. Because in a market where single family homes often cost $1.5 to $3 million, bad agent doesn't just cost you a little bit of money. They can pressure you into massively overpaying, ignoring red flags, stretching your budget, or buying a property that quietly becomes a financial nightmare years later. And the scary part is a lot of buyers don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. So in this video, I want to break down some of the biggest red flags Vancouver buyers need to watch out for when working with a real estate agent. Especially now in a market where buyers are getting stuck into signing buyer agreements. And competition can still get emotional in certain neighborhoods, and a lot of people feel pressure to move in quickly before prices rise again. And we're going to talk about agents pushing bad properties, pressuring buyers to overspend, using fear tactics around interest rates, manipulating urgency with fake competition, pushing buyers into bidding wars emotionally, and why some agents care more about maximizing commissions than actually protecting your financial future. I also want to break down how buyers should properly choose an agent in Vancouver, because honestly, the difference between a good realtor and a bad realtor in the city can literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long term. Because the reality is this: in a market that's this expensive, your agent should not just be trying to sell you a house. They should be protecting you financially and emotionally throughout one of the biggest purchases of your life. Think about what happens when an agent glosses over a $100,000 special levy hidden inside strata document, or glosses over the fact that a neighborhood's rezoning plan could destroy your resale value. In Vancouver, a tiny mistake isn't just a minor inconvenience. It could wipe out a decade of your hard-earned equity or lock you into a mortgage you barely can afford when rates renew. Too many buyers fall into the trap of hiring the first agent they meet at an open house, a family friend who sells 2 homes a year, or someone who simply tells them what they want to hear. But enthusiasm, unfortunately, doesn't protect your net worth. Aggressive due diligence and hyper-local market intelligence does. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot the subtle warning signs of an agent who is working for the commission check instead of your long-term success. More importantly, you walk away with a proven framework to vet, interview, and hire a real estate partner who will stand up for your interests, even if that means telling you to walk away from a deal. One thing people underestimate about Vancouver real estate is how emotional the process becomes, especially for first-time buyers. Because when the homes feel scarce, prices feel overwhelming, and the competition feels intense, buyers start operating from fear instead of logic. Fear of missing out, fear prices will keep rising, fear the rates will increase, or fear they'll never get into the market. And unfortunately, some agents take advantage of that fear instead of calming buyers down and helping them rethink clearly. Now, obviously, there are amazing realtors in Vancouver who genuinely care about protecting their clients, but there are also agents who treat buyers like transactions instead of human beings, making them one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. And honestly, that's where a lot of the problems start. One of the biggest red flags when an agent starts aggressively pushing a property that clearly has major issues while constantly talking about potential. Now, don't get me wrong, there are tons of great fixer-uppers in Vancouver, but there's a huge difference between a smart investment opportunity and an agent trying to convince someone to buy a problematic property because they want a deal closed. Especially in Vancouver, where renovation costs are absolutely through the roofs right now. Labor costs are all-time high, permits take time, materials are expensive, and trades are more than they've ever been. So when a first-time home buyer is already financially stretched just trying to afford the property itself, pushing them into a major renovation project can become extremely dangerous financially. And I've seen this happen. Agents convincing buyers, you can renovate later. This has huge upside. You'll build equity fast. You don't want to miss this opportunity. Meanwhile, the buyer doesn't actually have the money to properly renovate that property to its fullest. Or worse, the location itself is weak. And this is something buyers in Vancouver really need to understand. You can renovate a house and you cannot renovate the location. Backing onto a busy road, poor school catchments, bad layout positioning, problematic micro locations, difficult resale streets, those things matter enormously long term. So if an agent is brushing off the concerns instead of seriously discussing them with you, that's a massive red flag. What many buyers don't realize until they're already holding the keys is that a bad micro location follows you forever. When the market inevitably softens or balances out, buyers become hyper selective. That townhouse backing onto a 4-lane arterial road, or that detached home sitting in a low-lying flood fringe might seem like a decent compromise when FOMO is running wild. 5 or 10 years down the road, when you go to sell it, That exact defect will sit on the market while superior locations sell in a weekend. A great agent acts as a filler for your emotion, not an amplifier of it. They should be pointing out those flaws of a neighborhood or the noise pollution from nearby traffic before you even step through the front door. They should be looking at the proximity to transit hubs, commercial zoning changes, and high voltage power lines. These are the exact details that impact future liquidity. This is another major issue. Buyer tells the agent, I want to stay around 1.2 million. Then suddenly the agent starts sending listings for 1.5. Now in Vancouver, this becomes financially dangerous because monthly ownership costs can escalate unbelievably fast once you stretch beyond your comfort zone. Higher mortgage payments, higher property taxes, higher insurance, higher maintenance costs. And what many buyers don't realize is just because you were pre-approved for a certain amount does not mean you should go and spend that amount. Banks qualifying you for something and you comfortably affording it are two completely different things. Some agents know this, but they also know higher purchase price equals higher commission. That's the uncomfortable reality nobody talks about. So if an agent keeps trying to normalize you stretching your budget after you've already clearly communicated your limits, that's a huge warning sign that they may care more about maximizing commission than protecting your financial future. A good realtor should help you stay disciplined emotionally, not encourage lifestyle inflation that you'll regret later. Marry the house and date the rate became dangerous advice. This phrase was thrown around during the higher interest rate environment, marry the house and date the rate. And while technically refinancing later is possible, many agents started using the line almost like a sales tactic to pressure many buyers into uncomfortable purchases, especially in Vancouver where people are panicking about affordability. Now here's the issue. Nobody can guarantee rates will drop enough to make refinancing worthwhile. And refinancing is not free. You're paying fees, legal costs, potential penalties, closing costs again. And a lot of agents started speaking way too confidently about mortgage strategies when it's not their professional expertise. That's not their lane. A good realtor should never pressure buyers into financial assumptions based on future predictions because nobody truly knows where rates are going long term. Especially in Vancouver where affordability is already stretched, buyers need to make sure they can comfortably survive today's payment, not just hope future refinancing saves them later. This one happens constantly. A house sits on the market for weeks, no movement, no price reduction. Then suddenly the agent says, we have multiple offers. You need to move quickly. There's strong interest. I'd submit ASAP. Now, to be fair, sometimes properties genuinely do receive multiple offers after a price reduction or a market shift, but buyers also need to understand fake urgency is one of the oldest pressure tactics in sales. And unfortunately, some listing agents absolutely use it to emotionally push buyers into rushing decisions, especially in Vancouver where buyers are already feeling pressured as it is. The moment buyers feel scarcity, logic starts disappearing. Suddenly they stop analyzing the price, the location, the condition, the long-term risks. Now they're just emotionally focused on winning. And honestly, that emotional state is where buyers make their worst decisions financially. A strong buyer's agent should help slow emotions down and help you think strategically, not amplify the panic. This is another red flag. If an agent immediately says, you need to go 200K over asking, you'll never regret it otherwise, or you have to waive all your conditions. You need to be aggressive here. Without actually showing you comparable sales and explaining the market properly, that's dangerous. Now, yes, Vancouver absolutely has competitive pockets where properties sell over asking, but serious agents should be explaining the reasoning behind pricing, not emotionally pushing buyers into irrational bidding. And most of the time, the asking price itself almost means nothing in Vancouver. Some homes are intentionally underpriced to create bidding wars. Some are overpriced intentionally to expect a negotiation. Some are listed strategically low to create emotional momentum. And that's why buyers need data. Comparable sales, days on market, inventory levels, micro location trends, not just emotional pressure. Because once buyers emotionally attach themselves to winning, they often stop thinking about whether the property is actually worth the number they're offering. When an agent urges you to write an aggressive, subject-free offer way over the asking price without you reviewing data first, they aren't just gambling with your offer. They are gambling with your deposit. If you overpay in a heat-of-the-moment bidding war, the bank's independent appraiser might assess the home below your purchase price. If you've offered 1.4 million on a home and it appraises for 1.3, the bank will only lend based on the 1.3 evaluation. That means you're personally on the hook for an extra $100,000 in cash. If you don't have that extra capital sitting liquid in your bank account, you risk losing the deposit or getting sued by the seller for breach of contract. A protective agent calculates comparable sold data, runs conservative valuation ranges, and make sure you have a financial safety net before you put ink to paper. It will explicitly walk you through the worst case financial scenarios so you are never caught off guard. So how do you protect yourself? You stop treating agent interviews like casual conversations, start treating them like executive hiring decisions. When you're interviewing potential real estate partners in Greater Vancouver, skip the generic fluff like, how long have you been in real estate? Ask these revealing strategic questions instead. Can you walk me through a deal where you actively advised your buyer to walk away? How do you establish true market value when a home is listed strategically low to induce a bidding war? And what is your strategy if a property's bank appraisal comes back lower than our accepted offer price? At the end of the day, a great agent doesn't measure success by how quickly they get you into a contract. They measure success by how well that property serves your financial security 5, 10, and 20 years from now. One of the biggest differences between average agents and great agents like this, great agents know when to slow buyers down and the process down, because buyers sometimes become their own biggest risk emotionally. They fall in love with the kitchen, the views, the staging, the dream lifestyle, and suddenly every financial red flag starts getting rationalized away. The best agents know how to protect their buyers emotionally during these moments. They'll challenge you, slow things down, point out concerns, push back when necessary, not because they want to kill the deal, but because they understand protecting the client matters more than forcing a transaction. A lot of buyers choose agents casually. Friend recommendations, someone from Instagram, family friends, the person who answers the phone. In a market like Vancouver, choosing the wrong realtor can be extremely expensive. So buyers should absolutely interview multiple agents. Ask tough questions. How do they handle bidding wars? How do they protect buyers emotionally? What's the most difficult deal they've handled? And how do they communicate? Do they specialize in Vancouver neighborhoods specifically? How do they analyze value? Buyers should ask for references too, because this is not a small transaction. You're trusting someone to help guide you through one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. That deserves serious due diligence. At the end of the day, Vancouver real estate is too expensive for buyers to work with agents who are simply trying to close deals. Buyers need advisors, people who understand negotiation, micro-locations, and long-term resale value. Risk management, market psychology, because in a city where homes cost millions of dollars, small mistakes become massive financial consequences. The best agents often save clients money by taking them out of bad deals, not just helping them buy homes. That's the difference between someone chasing a commission and someone actually protecting your future and who cares. There are amazing realtors out there in Vancouver. And there are also agents who use pressure, fear, urgency, and emotional tactics to push buyers into decisions they later regret. And the reality is, when buyers are emotional, overwhelmed, and scared of missing out, they become extremely vulnerable to bad advice. That's why buyers need to slow down, ask the hard questions, analyze the numbers carefully, and work with someone who genuinely prioritizes protecting them financially. Because buying the wrong home in Vancouver is expensive, but buying the wrong home because you trusted the wrong agent can be even worse. If you're currently looking to buy in Metro Vancouver, don't rush the hiring process. Interview at least 2 to 3 agents, challenge their strategy, and demand transparent advice. Your financial future is worth far more than a quick commission check. If you found this video helpful at all, drop a comment below with your thoughts and questions. Please hit the subscribe button for more candid Vancouver real estate insights, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.